Kodak is usually remembered as the company that missed the digital camera. But that version is too simple. Kodak did not lose because the future was invisible. It lost because the future arrived in a form that made its old empire less valuable. For most of the 20th century, Kodak was not just a camera company. It was the company behind the entire habit of everyday photography. Families bought Kodak cameras, loaded Kodak film, sent that film to be developed, bought prints, filled albums, and came back to buy more film again. The camera captured the moment, but the repeat purchase paid the bills. That was the genius of the model. Kodak made photography feel easy at a time when taking pictures was still technical, messy, and expensive. George Eastman's original insight was to remove the complexity from the customer. Ordinary people did not need to understand chemistry or darkrooms. They just needed to press a button, send the camera or film back, and receive their memories in return. Then Kodak made the habit cheaper and broader. The Brownie camera, introduced in 1900, turned photography into something mass consumers could participate in. A camera was no longer only a specialist's tool. It could sit inside a family home, travel on vacations, and appear at birthdays, weddings, and ordinary weekends. That mattered because Kodak was not only selling equipment, it was building behavior. Every new camera created a new film customer. Every roll of film created demand for processing. Every processed image could become a print. The more people took pictures, the more often they returned to Kodak's ecosystem. This is why Kodak became so powerful. The camera was the doorway. Film, paper, chemicals, processing, and prints were the economic machine behind the doorway. Once that machine reached scale, it had advantages that were hard to attack. Kodak had manufacturing expertise, retail distribution, trusted quality, and a brand attached to personal memory. At its strongest, Kodak was not asking customers to compare technical specifications. It was asking them to trust the company with moments they could not recreate. That trust made the brand unusually valuable. If you were photographing a wedding, a child, a vacation, or a once-in-a-lifetime event, reliability mattered more than saving a few cents. Inside that world, Kodak's strategy made sense. Protecting film was not irrational. Film was the engine that funded the company. It had factories, supply chains, retailers, processing networks, and decades of customer behavior built around it. When a business has that kind of machine, the most natural decision is to defend it, improve it, and keep feeding it. But the strength of the model also created its weakness. In 1975, a Kodak engineer named Steve Sasson built an early digital camera prototype. It was heavy, slow, and primitive by modern standards. The image quality was limited, the storage was awkward, and the idea of people viewing photos on screens instead of prints was not yet obvious to ordinary consumers. From today's perspective, it looks like the beginning of the future. From Kodak's perspective at the time, it was also a threat to the business that made the company rich. This is the part of the story that is easy to judge backward. Digital photography eventually became inevitable, but in the 1970s and 1980s, film was still dominant, profitable, familiar, and supported by a massive infrastructure. Customers still wanted physical prints. Retailers still sold film. Families still used albums. Kodak's core market was not collapsing yet. So the tension was not simply whether Kodak understood the technology. Kodak did understand digital. It invested in digital imaging, sensors, patents, and later consumer digital cameras. The harder question was how to turn digital photography into a business as attractive as film. That question exposed the trap. Digital cameras could create more photos than film ever could. But more photos did not automatically mean more money for Kodak. A digital image did not require film. It did not require chemical processing. It did not need a print. It could be stored, deleted, copied, emailed, or later uploaded without passing through Kodak's old system. So digital attacked the most profitable part of the empire. It did not just replace the camera. It broke the connection between taking a picture and buying something from Kodak again and again. For a company built on repeat purchases, that was a brutal shift. Kodak could sell digital cameras, but digital cameras pushed the company into consumer electronics. That market had different rules. Prices fell faster. Competitors moved quickly. Product cycles were shorter. Margins were thinner. And unlike film, a camera sale did not guarantee years of follow-up purchases. Kodak did try to compete. In the 1990s and early 2000s, it launched digital products, built the EasyShare line, and at one point became a major player in US digital cameras. That success is important because it breaks the myth that Kodak simply did nothing. The company could make digital products customers wanted, but product success is not the same as business success. When Kodak sold film, every picture helped support the system. When Kodak sold a digital camera, the customer could take thousands of pictures without buying film, processing, or prints. The company could win shelf space and still lose the economics that had made shelf space valuable. From the inside, that made Kodak's choices painfully difficult. Moving too slowly risked losing the future. Moving too quickly risked damaging the present. And the present was still generating the cash needed to fund the transition. This is why the old decisions could look reasonable in the moment. Kodak was not choosing between an obviously dead business and an obviously superior new one. It was choosing between a highly profitable existing machine and a growing market with weaker economics. For a while, the numbers could hide the danger. Film did not disappear overnight. Many households moved from film only to mixed use before going fully digital. Some professional and entertainment markets still had reasons to use film, and Kodak's brand still had meaning. But outside forces kept changing the business reality. Fuji pressured Kodak in film with aggressive pricing and distribution. Retailers had more reasons to support alternatives. Digital cameras became cheaper and better. Then smartphones changed the market again. First, digital cameras weakened film. Then phones weakened standalone digital cameras. That second disruption was especially damaging. Kodak had spent years trying to bridge from film into digital cameras, but the category it was entering was itself becoming vulnerable. The camera was no longer a separate object for many consumers. It was becoming a feature inside the phone they already carried. Kodak then searched for another repeat purchase engine. One of the clearest examples was consumer inkjet printing. The logic was understandable. If film had made money through recurring purchases, maybe printers could do something similar through ink. Kodak tried to compete with a strategy built around cheaper ink and a different value proposition. But the environment was not the same. Printer buyers compared upfront prices. Established competitors already had scale. Digital sharing reduced the need to print every photo, and the consumer habit Kodak wanted to rebuild was weaker than the one it had lost. The company was trying to recreate the economics of film in a market that no longer behaved like film. This was the mechanism behind the failure. Kodak protected the old profit engine because it was still valuable. It entered digital because the future was real. Then it searched for replacement economics because digital cameras alone could not replace film. Each move had logic, but together they left Kodak trapped between a declining high-margin business and new businesses that could not produce enough profit fast enough. By the time the decline accelerated, Kodak was carrying the weight of its old structure. Factories, legacy costs, restructuring, pensions, and debt all made the transition harder. A lean startup can chase a low-margin future with a small cost base. Kodak had to do it while dragging the infrastructure of a 20th century giant. The point of no return came when the old business fell faster than the new one could support the company. Kodak exited dedicated digital cameras, pocket video cameras, and digital picture frames in 2012. That same year, it filed for bankruptcy protection. The company that had helped define consumer photography could no longer afford to keep chasing the consumer camera market. Bankruptcy did not mean Kodak vanished. It emerged in 2013 as a reorganized company focused less on family snapshots and more on commercial printing, packaging, advanced materials, chemicals, and business imaging. The brand survived. Some technical capabilities survived. Film even survived in smaller, more specialized forms. But the old Kodak empire, the one that controlled the mass consumer journey from camera to film to print, was gone. That is why Kodak's story is more useful than the cliché built around it. The lesson is not simply that companies must embrace new technology. Kodak did embrace digital technology. It saw it early, invested in it, and sold digital products. The deeper lesson is that technology only saves an empire if the new business can support the weight of the old one. Kodak's problem was not imagination, it was economics. The company had built a system where every memory created another purchase. Digital photography created more memories than ever, but fewer of them needed Kodak. That is the real tragedy of the business. Kodak helped teach the world to take pictures. But when pictures no longer depended on Kodak's system, the habit it created escaped the empire that built it.